wonderful day!
Welcome back to another End Cut movie review. Today we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Is this going to rival the last trilogy? Hopefully.
The plot of the film picks up about 100 years in the future from Caesar's time, and the film introduces the new protagonist, Noah, and we find out that his village is a village of apes that capture and train falcons to defend the village, attack for them, send messages, and they just pretty much train these birds and they become one with the birds. Almost like Avatar, essentially. Noah's village is very harmonious. From the outside in, it doesn't look like they have many enemies. That it doesn't look like they have any sort of problems with other apes. That harmony is disrupted when an ape who has twisted the words of Caesar comes along and pretty much enslaves them all, leaving Noah for dead. And the rest of the movie is Noah setting out to try and bring back his tribe that has been captured. Along the way, finding out the teachings of Caesar and what Caesar really meant and how Caesar was really trying to have apes and humans as one. And along the way, he finds out whether he can trust humans or not and whether he should stay on the ape side or the human side.
The acting in this is just amazing. The ability for them to be so physical on screen. If you've watched some of the interviews with Kevin Durand, he just exudes that ape energy. The man can just instantly transform into Proxima Caesar whenever he wants. Apparently, he scares his wife with it too. That's how good he is at it. Freya Allen playing Nova. Amazing actress. The way she's able to make you trust her and feel sorry for the humans at the very start, and then you can kind of see, as human nature does, corrupt, and then she starts to go into a different direction, which then changes your opinion immediately on her as well. So that's kind of an interesting take that she had, but she's also a great actress. First movie I've seen her in, and I love her. I'm not sure if they were as good as what Andy Serkis is, because no one can recreate what he has done for Caesar and to Caesar and for that character. He is next level in body acting, but they were very close, and it did pave a way for these later films to come on. These number 2, number 3 that the trilogy is going to be, which is going to be hopefully rivaling the last one. Owen Teague, who plays Noah, is very much like Caesar, especially the young Caesar when he was coming up through the zoo and he was learning his intelligence. And their similarities between those two characters was very well prefaced in this. The writers did an amazing job showing qualities of Caesar in Noah. Another actor we have to mention is the orangutan Rucker. This man, his superior intelligence brought a different angle to the orangutans. He brought comedic timing. And you need someone like that in these films because you can be taken too seriously sometimes. And especially in the last film, I think it was War of the Planet of the Apes, that cue the meme.
Oh no! Oh no!
He is now my favorite character. So Rucker bringing that type of comedy into this film helps it a lot and furthers the character development because it allows the other characters to see a different side of emotion, which is not known for apes as well, to have that other side of intelligence.
The good thing about Rocco as well is they realised how important Maurice was as a character in the original trilogy. He was like the sort of like the balancing point between the evilness of Koba and then the humility of Caesar, and then he was sort of what binding them together and was in the middle. So putting someone in like Rocco, who was sort of, I guess, a spiritual shout out to Maurice, because to be honest, you sort of think it is Maurice the whole time you're watching it. So that's why you can see he was understood. Some things need to be carried over from the original trilogy. That's one of the things. One thing about the series of Planet of the Apes is how flawless the CGI really is. From the first Planet of the Apes that we saw with James Franco, even to the third part of that trilogy, even now to the beginning of this new trilogy, you can just see how flawless the CGI is. I mean, half the time you can't even tell the difference where the green screen or the grey screen blurs into the reality of the background. And that for me is just a telltale sign that this movie is made with love and care. And I think one aspect where we saw how well the CGI really is was one of the apes fell into the water, and you can't even tell that this is a fake ape in the water or that this isn't a real animal in the water. And that for me is such a good way to tell that the CGI is good, because in this day and age where so-called big budget movies have these huge budgets and they can't even make CGI look good. I mean, you watch these movies now and you see Iron Man 2008 have better CGI than Thor Love and Thunder 2023. Something went wrong there, but Planet of the Apes is one franchise that has just gotten better and better every single movie.
It stayed so consistent, and for it to be so realistic is a massive point as well. For them to have so much attention to detail and care of something, it really shows, and that's what brings us go back to watch these ape films. That's why we love them. I think a little bit of a fun fact as well, or a known fact, is that each individual ape was not purely CGI. It was actually real people. So these are real people playing the apes, not bullshit CGI that you'll see in a Marvel film now,
or like in Meet the Spartans.
Yeah, literally. Cue the meme.
Yeah, cue the meme.
Remember this day, boys! For today is the day you die!
What?
I mean they die. Today's the day they die. That's what I meant to say.
if you have an attention span that's very short and slow, shout out Sam. These movies. What you have to understand about these films is that they're trying to build something more. This whole film is 100% a story-driven film. It's a narrative. They're trying to push the characters, allow you to be introduced to them, allow you to get to know what they mean and where their character development is going. But what some people who have, like we were saying, short attention spans have, is that they will then think, oh, this movie's slow. This movie's not doing anything for me. There's no action in it. That's not what they're going for. You just have to sit down and just watch the film for what it is. Think about it in the future where the next two are going to come in and end the story. That's the whole point of this first one, to set up. And that's what great movies do, is they set up the lore. So what do you have to do? You have to build it from the start, from the ground up. And that's what the Planet of the Apes have always have done. And this is what they're doing here. So just be patient and sit back and relax and just enjoy the film for what it is.
Yeah, like especially when you know a franchise is going to have like multiple movies or maybe a trilogy or whatnot. The first movie is either cannon fodder, so it's just a movie to get the characters out there so that they can make the next movie be cool, or the first movie is going to be a movie to build up the lore and build up the care for the characters so that in the later iterations you care so much about it if they get hurt or if they decisions they have to make. Like, for instance, I think about Captain America, the first Avenger. That movie was literally just made so that Captain America could be in the universe. There was not much care into that movie. They didn't really care about the CGI, the plot or anything. Whereas this first part of a trilogy or first part of a franchise is about building up the lore, and then they actually care about the lore. So we've already touched on the CGI, but another huge part of these movies wouldn't be what they are without it, is the motion capture. And obviously the legend that is Andy Serkis, who has pioneered motion capture all the way back to Gollum. I mean, everyone knows him as Gollum, and then he honed his craft in the last trilogy of Apes, where it's just, he is the man when it comes to motion capture. And I think the actors in this movie paid so much respect and homage to what he started and what he paved the way for, because the way they were able to motion capture in this movie was really good. And you could tell that they really cared about how they looked, how they sounded, how they felt, because they really, like Josh touched on with Kevin Durand, really went into becoming the ape that they were portraying on the screen. And there's a few little things that they do in these movies that make you feel closer connection or closer hatred to these characters. And that is, you can see in some of the faces of the apes that they sort of incorporate a little bit of the actor that is motion capturing them into the ape's face, I think. And that is an easy way as well for us to distinguish between the different apes on screen so that they don't all look similar and they don't all sound the same, they don't all look the same. And that's a small little thing that they do in this franchise that I think can go unnoticed, but is a detail that is what makes these movies so great and so easy to get on board with. And another sort of thing that they did as well that we didn't really see in the other movies, I think, was in this one, the seaside is the main front. Proximus's crew has turned in a humongous beach ship into their home. And one thing that we didn't really see in the last trilogy was how the world had changed and how they had adapted to making their home on the seaside. And it's always interesting to see how movie creators and movie writers and movie directors think that a dystopian future will look on different environments. Like we saw what it would be like in the city with the high-rise buildings and San Francisco that I think they're in. And now in this movie, we get to see how the ocean side was changed. I mean, when there's ships the size of cities, of course, they're probably going to try and inhabit them. And in this one, it was kind of an interesting aspect to see because, I mean, you don't really think sea and monkeys or sea and apes. It doesn't really, they're not really two things that go together, but we're not just in the same environment from the last trilogy. No, we're in a different environment now, a new aspect, new challenges, and that was kind of a cool thing to see. A theory that me and Josh have running on these new trilogies is that we think that the apes are actually sort of going through evolution. They are going to become pretty much human again. I think if you look at Noah, the actual facial of him, he does look quite human-like, I think. I think they morphed the actor and the ape really, really sort of to a point where you can sort of tell that he's going through a bit of
evolution.
A bit of evolution. And I think that's a theory that we have. And I think if they go on to that theory, that'd be awesome. That would be so cool if then you sort of have these 50% ape, 50% human hybrids that are sort of fighting which side of the war should they go on, humans, apes, or should they just become one? I think that would be really cool. Can they be civil? Is it possible for apes and humans to be civil when they're so different, when there's so many different aspects about them?
Yeah, and also for the creators to have the balls and the goal to actually go in a different direction in some of the storylines and the narratives instead of just remaking them like these other directors do or these other storytellers or companies do. Like,
and also like going back to how we thought about the theory of the apes evolving back into humans. Like now you've got people talking about, oh, could it go this way? Could it go that way? Could it go that way? And that's a perfect way that you want people leaving a cinema going, because there could be people that are watching this going, there's no way that's going to happen. I didn't even think about that. But they have their own ideas of the way the movie could go. And when the movie ends, it leaves it so open-ended with so many different thoughts and ideas of what could come next. And that's the perfect way for us to be waiting for the next 4 years or whenever the next movie is going to come out.
As always, we finish these reviews with a rating. I have to rate this up with a 90%. It is such an immaculate movie to go see. I recommend everyone to go see this. If you've seen all the other ones, even the original ones with like Mark Wahlberg and even before his time, then go watch these, get your whole story, because it's building towards something big and you need to be a part of it.
My rating for this film would be around about 90% too. You can't go wrong with these Planet of the Apes films, especially the newer trilogies with Caesar and then this new trilogy that's about to happen. They're just immaculate. The CGI is incredible. The ability to world build is incredible. I was a bit nervous that they were going to struggle to find a new main character outside of Caesar because he just had such a big impact and it was such a well-written character. But I think Noah has a chance because even throughout this movie here, you see so many changes in him similar to what Caesar's was, but enough that it's his own story. So I really am going to give these movies a chance. I think everyone should. This movie, some might find a little bit slow, but the world building is immaculate. So it's 100% worth going to see. And there's enough action in it to keep you interested.
Anyway, guys, been another Uncut Movie Review.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
What's the question of the fucking day? How do you get rid of bags under your eyes for videos?
Botox.
Question of the day. What kind of... Are they marsupials?
Carry babies in their pouch or something.
Question of the day. What kind of monkey would you like to be in the Planet of the Apes world? I'd like to be Maurice.
Yo, shout out Buck. I'm Buck from the first one, from the original, not the original, the trilogy. Anyway, guys, been another Uncut Movie Review. Peace, we out.
Peace.
And cut. Where's my clapperboard?